Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Ashton Ruby, Randall Quiggle, Tony G, Stud Still Smash the Milkman, Keith Gasper, Miss Peachy, JC, Megan Caruso, Mast Keaton, Andrew LaGuarri, Ozzy Garcia, The Retro Vixen, Adam from The Good, the Bad, and the Backlog, Lunchbox, aka The Disgruntled Gamer, Dischimera, Jenny E, Rick Firestone, Parallax Puddles, Soha, Dave Jackson, Matt, aka Stormageddon, Retro Overdrive, B-Ross and Van Fernal from Super Garbage Day, Raging Demon, Storm Beagle, Eric Guess, Nomad from the Retro Wildlands podcast, Ash Event, Alan Bingham, Ryan, Player One, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Darth Emick, Low 5 Alex, Alt, Renner Dreaming, and Oh Me. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated. Welcome to The Flight, a consumable curation of champions and catastrophes that is considerate of your chronometer. It is I, Chris Copleen, as you may know from that podcast that is called Retro Hangover. And today we're going to school. And as always, the person who is going to go to school with us, your host with the most Dick Dragony School Lab, is Shane Dick Dragon Koski. Shane, how are you? How are you doing on this most illustrious day where we are getting educated?
I'm sorry, what? I wasn't paying attention.
Why would you?
I mean, I don't know. This other thing was way more entertaining, and you were talking about chemistry or something. You lost me. I don't know. Covalent bond? I don't know what's happening.
Yes. Things will explode, and...
Oh, well, I'm interested now.
Yeah, we're not talking about your pants.
Oh, okay, I'm not interested anymore.
I figured. But let's talk about some games.
Okay.
Where, video games that we played in our computer lab instead of doing schoolwork or work. Because I think that will also apply somewhere on these lists. Because, believe it or not, as we have become adults, we have played games at our work as opposed to doing actual work. Who would have thunk it?
I don't know what you're talking about. For legal reasons, I must say that is not true.
I'm talking about, when we were... No, I already said for work. So not anything in our current status of employment.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
All you do is work for your company right now, Shane. You never play games.
No, never. I don't even think about it.
No.
Yeah.
Especially not during work.
Nope.
Nope. All right. So how about you kick this one off, Shane, and let us know what you're playing instead of, making your employers happy or teachers. I meant teachers.
Yes. Teachers. Right.
Number 5.
Well, I think kick off is probably actually a pretty apropos term for my first game on this list. This one's kind of a twofer because they're sort of inextricably linked in my mind because I was playing both of them kind of at the same time. So, take that for what you will. But my number 5 is Lemmings on the PC, and also Secret of Monkey Island. So, I recall, I believe it was, I want to say it was like 3rd grade, I think. It was 3rd grade, and my teacher had a computer, in her classroom, and there were times where we kind of like it's not necessarily that I was doing it instead of working, although I kind of finagled it a little bit so that I actually did. I probably could have been working on more things, but it was sort of like a reward type of deal of like, oh, if you do your work, you can play on the computer or whatever. And I definitely worked that system to my benefit. And so I distinctly remember playing a lot of Lemmings and Secret of Monkey Island. I don't know how she even had those games because back then she was probably, I mean, she had full head of white hair, so she had to have been already at least in her like 60s. So I don't even know how she was up on that, or if it was just some other rando that just like installed this stuff on the classroom computer. Not sure, but yeah, that was what I was doing in third grade instead of doing more work, was trying to not get lemmings to kick themselves off a ledge.
Of course not. You're always trying to protect the lemmings.
Yeah.
It's never funny to watch them die.
No, that's cruel. I would never do that.
Never. So mean. Okay, so my number 5 actually stems from the corruption that trying to teach you in a computer lab can happen. Because in my elementary school, we also went to the computer lab. We had these fun things called floppy disks.
And
nice.
Now, were these the actual floppies or the small, not floppy floppies?
Actual floppies.
Ah, okay.
Like they were floppy floppies, not like hard floppies. They were flaccid floppies.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah. And actually, it's going to be my next 2 games where the way that I played these games instead of doing anything meaningful. And the first one is Super Solvers, which I first played in my computer lab. I'm going to say it was Midnight Rescue. That's the one that sticks out the most. And it was a really fun game. We played them on our Apple IIe's. So we put them in the little slot and, put the lever down, or lever for our European audience. And I just remember going through the hallways and kind of having some platforming elements. And I don't really remember the educational aspect to it. I just found it to be a lot of fun. Much in the same vein as like Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, but I played that at home. I didn't play that at the computer lab. I did play Super Solvers at the computer lab, and it's just a ton of fun, man. Like, I would play that game over and over and over again just to try and beat it, and beat that like squirrely looking professor dude. And man, just, I don't know, like the more I think about it, the more I want to go back and see if it actually holds up in any meaningful way, and just to see how dumb I was as a kid.
No, man. Okay, I know I've said this before. We need to find a way to play those, because I 100% would want to talk about those games on the show, because I also played a ton of that series of Super Solvers, and I always really enjoyed it. And I would be curious to see how well that shit actually holds up now.
Oh, yeah. It still graphically looks fine. Maybe not the best, of course, obviously, because it seems like it came out in 1989, the first couple ones. But man, I really want to. I really want to play them again. I miss those. And I don't think they're ever talked about. They're like super obscure. And I think that anyone our age that had access to a computer lab played them. They're a ton of fun.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I can't even remember the specifics. You just went around and like Super Solver, it was just like you figured out information. It would ask you dumb questions that you as a kid probably thought you were super smart figuring out. And then they would give you clues or give you parts or anything like that towards your final objective. And you're this guy with like this little detective hat. You didn't see their face, but you had this big coat and this magnifying glass. I think shorts and sneakers. Yeah, it's God, I want to play it again. I wish I could be more descriptive. I just knew I played it, and that's the problem. It's just I can think about what I'm doing in my mind, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing. But I know I wasted time on it. I wish I could give the audience a better picture. I just wish I could. So if you don't know what Super Solvers is, look it up. Yeah, we do. We'd have to play it at some point.
We got to do an episode on it.
We do. We need to. But that's enough from me. Super Solvers. I'll put it in the bank.
Number 4.
All right, well, my number 4, I think a lot of people can share this one. I think this is fairly common, so much so that we've got t-shirts and shit about it. But I sure did play a lot of Oregon Trail instead of doing other things. I think this was when we had the lab of like Apple IIe's, and based on how our audience is skewed as far as demographics go, I think most of you know what that is. But for the younger folks, it was a very old Apple computer with that really nice like beige plastic shell, and it was monochromatic in that it was basically black and green. That was kind of it. And yeah, I spent a lot of time playing Oregon Trail on those things. Killed way too many bison or buffalo or whatever. That's for sure.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump in because my number 4 is also Oregon Trail. And
Aha.
it's the same version that you're talking about. The ones that you loaded up in a floppy with the old primitive graphics.
Mhm.
And you could, how did you shoot the bison? Did you have a mouse cursor?
No.
What did you, oh, you had the guy at the bottom and you had to point him around and shoot it that way, right?
Yeah, you had to point with like friggin'
Yeah.
arrow keys or something.
Yeah. Because it was the one after that. I can't remember. Maybe it was that version or maybe the one right after it. I know the CD version, which I did not play in school. That was the one where you could move your cursor around. It had all the great colors and graphics and animations and everything like that. No. This is the primitive ass one where you saw your 2 oxen and a carriage walk around in very primitive, I don't want to say primitive. It's just older graphical style. Again, Apple IIe for me, and it was your friend died of dysentery in the very old graphics. Yeah. That's what that was the gem. You always got to be the banker, by the way. Always the banker.
Yeah. I don't think I ever quite nailed the right loadout. I think I made it to Oregon like maybe twice. I don't know.
You know what? I mean, it sounds like actual pioneers had a higher success rate than you did.
That's probably very likely, yeah.
Oh, we would have died. It would have been great. Died of shitting yourself. That's a hell of a way to go.
That reminds me of a meme I just saw today, actually, about that exact thing, where there was like a Baskin Robbins sign and it was supposed to say cookie dough, but they messed up the letters and it said Dookie cough. And somebody's comment about it was be like, yeah, Dookie cough. That's that thing that kills you on the Oregon Trail. Oh, man. Good times.
I want that ice cream flavor where it tastes good going down, but it gives you gas and you burp. And it tastes like actual shit when you burp.
Why would you want that?
Not for me.
Oh, okay.
For the customers.
Ah, right. The true pioneer experience.
Yeah. So when they're on a date and it says cookie dough, but you meant to say dookie cough. It's a typo. And like it starts getting hot and heavy after you go to Baskin Robbins. You just go back to the house to Netflix and chill, and all of a sudden you burp. And it smells like shit. And fun for the whole family.
We have officially taken this line of thought way too far.
We have. Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Or as I said when I was a kid, the Oregon Trail.
Or the
Like a
Oregon Trail, which somebody did make, and it's about zombies. But anyway.
It is. Yeah.
Well, shit, I guess that goes right back to me then for my number 3, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Number 3.
This is probably another super relatable one for people in our age bracket because I think we all mourned the loss of this when Windows got upgraded, but I sure did play a lot of that pinball game that was built into Windows.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I played that one. Well, was it made by Sierra?
I'm actually not sure if it was. I just know that it was like packed in with Windows at one point.
Okay. There's a Sierra pinball game I played all the time. Not in a school lab. It was like at a kind of like where they would stuff kids for the summer when your parents had to go to work.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a daycare. It's just like a summer care. I don't know. Very embarrassed by it. I shouldn't be, but I am. Was it 3D pinball or was it like basic ass pinball?
It's the one. Okay, now you're putting me on the spot. It's the. Let me freaking.
am.
I'm Googling while we're recording.
Very professional.
Yes, it's definitely.
I've never done
the
that.
first time that I've done that.
Yeah.
What is it? 3D Pinball Space Cadet. That one specifically.
Ooh, now I have to look that up. It is not the one I'm thinking of. So I did not play that one. But I think that you're going to have a lot of fans because this was... Oh, it's a Maxis game.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, pinball. That was a big... Like, a lot of people played pinball games, man, if they were included.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was a hell of a lot better than Minesweeper.
Oh, Minesweeper sucks, man. It sucks. I'm sorry. Kind of behind the scenes here for Retro Hangover and the King of Games. We were considering at one point doing a King of Games 1989, and Minesweeper came out in 1989, I think. No, 88 or 87. But like it came into a discussion in our King of Games chat. We were discussing years. People were like, Minesweeper would win. And initially I thought, yeah. And now I think about it, like, no.
No, it wouldn't.
No. It's so not, it's a time waster. I don't want to say it's bad because it's fundamentally not a bad game. It does exactly what it sets out to do. I don't want to talk about Minesweeper anymore. We were just talking about pinball. So
yes.
I guess we can move on. Fuck Minesweeper. So my number 3 is bending the rules a little bit. This is a game I played at work and not at school. I played it on the work computer while I should have been doing work. And that game is probably familiar to almost all of our listeners at some point in our lives. I don't think anyone plays this anymore, but it was huge. Huge. And that game is Farmville.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I played the fuck out of some Farmville, man. It's not like a good game, but it is addictive, and it has a lot of horrible elements that try to get you to spend money. Thankfully, I never spent a dime on that damn game. I'm so happy I don't have that type of addictive personality, but everyone in my family was playing it. Almost all my friends on Facebook were playing it. You would like plant all these like items and stuff, and then you would request your friends to also plant items and check out your farm, so you would get more bennies, and then you do the same to them, so they would get bennies and use those items to build more stuff, man. And there were other games that were also like that, but the one that is the most pronounced is definitely Farmville. I can't think of any other game that had an impact on the culture immediately like that did, with a prolonged effect as widespread, or one that I played as long as I did. Farmville it really is one of those iconic games, funnily enough, that if I say that, everyone's going to know it, but it's that no one talks about that anymore at all. But you listening right now, you spent company time playing Farmville. You did. Don't even try to lie. Or if you're one of our younger listeners, you spent time in the computer lab playing Farmville on your Facebook web browser. Don't even try to pretend you didn't. Don't say I'm too cool for Facebook. Only boomers use Facebook. Well, you're the boomer now. That was you.
I
Farmville.
definitely spent an unnecessary amount of time playing Farmville. Like I'm not even gonna lie about that.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. People will admit to it though. It's not so bad that you won't admit to it. Everyone played Farmville. It's fine. Farmville was a time. It was a moment in time, and it was a beautiful moment in time until we learned that it really wasn't, when they tried to squeeze all the money out of you and put timers on everything. Yeah. I'm glad the industry learned its lesson.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. It's all better now.
All better.
Yeah, video games are saved.
Yeah.
Well, you know what didn't put timers and microtransactions and things into it? My number 2.
Number 2.
Which is
Oh.
Crimson Land.
I don't know what that is.
It is a top-down twin-stick shooter. It's like a wave-based game. And there's actually, I actually want to say, I think I played it on stream because there's a like HD remake of it that's on Steam that I have. But the OG game I think there was a demo version, and then you had to like buy it. If you wanted the full game, you had to buy it like through the developer's website and get like a key like emailed to you, just like, that kind of old school shit. Which I did have. I saved the key in a text, like a notepad on my computer somewhere. I think that's long gone now, but it's kind of irrelevant. But that ended up on our computer lab computers. I think in high school, it was around that time for me. Thanks to me, I put it on I guess it would have been a thumb drive at that point, right? I'm trying to think, early 2000s. Yeah, probably.
It'd be a thumb drive, early 2000s. Like early 2000s where thumb drives just start coming out, like with a massive size of 256 megabytes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I had one of those already, or if I was still, it's actually possible that I might have burned it to a rewritable disk and then brought that in. I think that might have actually been what happened.
One of the two. I mean, floppies were still around then too.
Yeah, but the game, I think the game was too big for a floppy disk. But anyway,
zip drives?
I don't think we had zip drives in that computer lab. No. So I'm fairly certain it was probably a rewritable CD. Anyway, point being, I brought it to school and installed it on the computer lab PC that I was using. So I would play that a lot when the teacher wasn't paying attention, because I usually got my work done fairly quickly, and then I just had some free time to do whatever, and so I would just play that. And by the way, plug for Crimson Land, if you like twin stick shooters, that's one of the OGs. So I highly recommend it. It's still a good time even today. And like I said, you can grab it on Steam for pretty cheap. But yeah, man, killing aliens with all kinds of different guns. Like, it's basically like a roguelite. Like, every run is different. You pick up different power-ups and choose which ones you want to use and all that good stuff. And like, there's a sort of a air quotes campaign in that, like, they have preset levels. And it was kind of neat because it wasn't just a lazy, like, okay, here's another level with just a wave of shit. Like, they actually did different things. Like, there were like puzzle levels where you had to use like a specific weapon to kill like enemies in a certain pattern in order to like pass the level, because if you didn't do that, then they would like overwhelm you. And it was just like neat stuff like that. So yeah, Crimson Land was a good one, still is. But yeah, that's my number 2.
So my number 2 is, I guess, a little interesting when you really think about it, because I don't know how it ended up on the computers at our computer lab, because this was in middle school. I'm pretty sure it was 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be 96, 97. I'd have to take a look at the release date of the game. They were all on IMAX. So there you go. If you want to go down a trip down memory lane. And I don't know who installed it. I have no idea who installed this game. This is a Bullfrog game, and it's very violent. It's Syndicate.
Oh, Jesus.
It was just on the computers. And this was the game that, like, in our, like, when people should have been working, just everyone that went to computer lab, because that was a course that we had to go to learn like word processing on Claris Works.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah, while we were learning how to internet on AOL and Netscape. Good Lord. But yeah, like in our downtime when we should have been doing other things, that was one of 2 games. My number 1 is the other one that we were playing. And yeah, it was Syndicate. We would get a group of people and we would go down in this isometric video game and just murder people strategically. And this was something that us as 6th graders were unfazed by. No problems. And apparently, like, I know the teacher knew we were playing it. I don't remember her name. I don't remember. She was probably in her mid to late 30s, I think. I can't remember. But like, she knew we were playing Syndicate. There was no mistaking, because it was on every computer. So how that happened, no idea. But it was like legitimized and no one had a problem with it. Here's a game that I think is undoubtedly rated M, that, 11 and 12-year-olds are just like, cool, let's play this afternoon instead of doing our schoolwork. Yeah, that was my childhood. Syndicate in the computer lab.
Number 1.
Well, I think that brings us to our number 1. And this one is it's a little bit of a curveball because it does not include a computer whatsoever. Yeah, my number 1 is the shit ton of games that I installed through Mirage OS on my TI-83 Plus calculator.
Oh, good one. That was a route I was thinking about taking. I didn't. I'm glad one of us did. Great pick.
Yeah, dude, collectively, like between all of the things that I have on this list, I think I spent the most time on that because it was so easy to do because it's a calculator. And so it's real simple to look like you're actually doing something productive when you are in fact playing Mario or Bomberman or Doom or Donkey Kong or Drug Wars or a lot of other things that I was playing. So no, man, that was such, and the awesome thing about it is you can still get this stuff today. You can go online and grab the files, and if you've got a transfer cable, you can transfer it right onto your good old TI-83 and still play them to this day. And I gotta give credit where it's due because I actually got into a little bit, like I dabbled with some of the programming language that's built into those TI-83s, and I messed around with it a little bit and made some really rudimentary things, but the things that people were able to pull off with that programming language on a calculator is just incredibly impressive. So I'm not saying that I advocate for playing calculator games when you should be paying attention in math or science class, but I am also admitting that I did that quite a bit. So take that however you will.
Yeah. No, I totally did from time to time too, except I was more overt in my delinquency.
Did you just bring like a whole ass Game Boy?
Yes. I didn't include it in my list, so I'll just say this is an honorable mention. Dragon Quest Monsters is the game I would play during class. And this was in my junior year and in high school. And I'd bring the Game Boy Color and I'd just play Dragon Quest Monsters in math class instead of paying attention.
There you go.
I wonder why I failed math. I have no idea.
It's a mystery.
Yeah, it sure is. But I got that bomb-ass Drakey. That was cool.
Listen, all I'm saying is if you're coming to the Retro Hangover show for life advice, you're coming to the wrong place, okay?
Right. Anyway, on to my number 1. I didn't include that because I'm glad you did. That is a great qualifier. Because then I could, I should have gone down the stuff I do with my iPod Touch. Because that would go right around Farmville. But instead of that, I'll stay in my middle school class that I was playing Syndicate with instead of doing schoolwork. But I'll go to the other game because I think the other game is better. I think the other game is more fun. I think the game is far more iconic, and everyone has at least experienced it once, and that is Theme Park.
Oh, yes.
That game is incredible. Make people piss their pants by not putting in any bathrooms and having all the drink vendors all over the place, and just try to get the best rides you can and try to make money when you're trying to do it seriously, but also be a total dick most of the time to your customers, and that's the most fun. By the way, SimCity almost made this list as well because there's a lot of SimCity playing back in the day.
Yeah,
but Theme Park, but I couldn't remember if I played that in school or not. I just played that at home. But Theme Park, I know I played in school, and Theme Park is an amazing game that everyone should play at least a variant of. And there's a million different variants of the Theme Park formula nowadays, and it's so accessible. But in the mid 90s, this was something that just couldn't be replicated exactly as it should be on a console because you do need the mouse and keyboard in order to do most of the functions that you need to perform. It was very well animated, very well automated, and did give you the feeling of being a theme park manager while not being overly complicated. And to do that while you're not having to type up an essay for schoolwork and I did not do well in middle school. Shocker. That was a great time. So yeah, theme park is absolutely my number one game that I played instead of doing something productive in a school lab.
All right. Well, there you have it. 10, well, 9, I guess we had one overlap, but 9 games that took up our time when we should have been paying attention and preparing ourselves for a successful adulthood. But hey, I mean, we turned out all right, right? So there you
One
go.
of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we won't say who. We'll leave that up to the listener. How about that? That is up to you. Which one that happens to be?
Totally up to the listener.
And speaking of the listener, hey, hi, how you doing? Is it weird that I'm talking directly to you? Probably, but we're glad that you decided to check out this episode. And if this happens to be the first time that you have dropped in, then we are glad that you are here, and we hope you had a good time. We got a whole lot of other stuff for you, if you didn't know. We are slowly but surely already creeping up on 300 releases on our main feed, which is just banana pants. So there's plenty of content for you. And if you don't know how to find that already somehow, then we got you covered, as well as all the other stuff that we got going on out there. We got the Patreon, where there's a whole other selection of content for you to peruse through. As well as some nice bennies. We got our public Discord, which we always recommend people jump into because it is a lively place. Lots of great discussion, lots of really great people. It's just an awesome community, and we really can't hype it up enough because I don't know how we managed to get such a fantastic group of people in there, but we did, and we're very grateful for it. Y'all are awesome. So if you want to be a part of that, all you got to do is just hit that link and jump in. We also have our merch store if you want to grab some sweet shirts or maybe bumper stickers or what have you. We also have our socials, as always, and our YouTube and Twitch channels. So lots of stuff for you to go and waste your precious time on, because that's what content is, right? It's there to fill the void. Anyway, this was my turn to get dark, apparently. Chris, what else would you like to tell the fine people at home?
Well, just in case I forgot, because I can't remember if I said this at the top of the episode. I hope I did. And if I did, Shane, you could do your best to cut this out, but I don't think you can because I'm making it flow too well.
Yay.
Shucks. But thank you to Keith Gasper for recommending back-to-back topics. You got 2. And so congrats to you, Keith. We love hearing your topics, apparently, and so do our patrons. And, if you want to recommend it, just like Keith did, become a patron, go to our Discord channel, go to the top 5 suggestions and put it there, and then you all get to vote on all of the topics, and that can be for as little as $1 a month over at patreon.com/retrohangover, or just go to our link tree, which will be in the show notes. I want to say below, but that would probably be your crotch because you're driving. So don't look below. Just wait until you get home and click on the episode description. You'll find it there. But if you want to see more of us and visually see, you can go to twitch.tv/retrohangover at Sunday at 9 p.m. and hang out with us there, because we are cool cats and we hang out with cool people. And you want to be a cool person too, don't you? It's the bee's knees over there at twitch.tv/retrohangover. And you too can be a member of our community. So head on over. I don't know why I'm going down that route.
What the fuck just happened?
I'm not sure. That was a bad decision.
It slowly went from like 1920s like newscaster or something to I think almost like kind of
Canadian.
Racist Chinese Canadian South Park.
No,
I don't know, man.
No, there was no Chinese attempt on that. If that's the case,
I don't know.
Well,
I was expecting you to say something about those goddamn Mongolians, but
that would be pretty shitty, Shane. But head on over to twitch.tv/retrohangover and we will see you there, hopefully, at 9 p.m. on Eastern time on Sundays.
All right. Well, before we bury ourselves anymore, we should probably get out of here. So with all of that having been said, except for maybe the parts that will get us canceled, until next time.
Play with your thank God Angry Birds wasn't on an earlier computer joysticks.